You anticipate a smooth ride when you get on the road, but when something breaks down, that isn't the case. When the car shakes while idle but smooths out while driving, though, it can be odd. Many people may find themselves baffled by this situation. Additionally, you may begin to question whether the car is even safe to drive. To identify the best solution, we examine each of these problems. The average cost of each repair is also listed in this guide. It's the Car Problems YouTube channel. Subscribe and let's get started. Bad motor mounts. Your engine's attachment to the car is handled by the motor mounts. The motor can no longer stay motionless in the engine compartment when the mounts deteriorate or break. This problem causes vibration, which is typically felt when the vehicle is stopped or idling. It's a clear indication that the mounts need to be replaced if the shaking stops when you put your car in neutral. When the car is moving, you might also notice it less. Worn belts or hoses. For a smooth ride, the many belts and hoses inside the car must be in perfect alignment. Defective belts or hoses can produce excessive noise in addition to vibration. Think about the serpentine belt's worth. More vibration and shaking may result from it becoming loose or worn out, and if it breaks, a worn belt may cause harm to important parts. A vacuum hose could be the cause of the shaking if it is severe. Additionally, it may result in engine hesitation or surging, which would lower performance. Malfunctioning fuel intake system. The fuel intake system may be the cause of the vehicle's trembling or rough vibrations when it is at idle. The fuel intake system of your car suffers damage while you drive it. It gets contaminated and filthy. In severe situations, the accumulations cause the valves to become clogged. The engine cannot get a steady, uninterrupted supply of fuel if the valves are blocked. Rather, an uneven fuel supply causes vibrations while the vehicle is idling. If the engine seems to be running poorly at idle, use an OBD2 scanner to check the trouble codes. This will enable you to identify the problem more quickly and at a lower cost. You should definitely check the ignition coils and spark plugs if there are misfiring trouble codes. Defective idle speed control or throttle body. Most passenger cars are built with 600 to 1000 RPMs as their idle speed. The engine shouldn't stall while operating at this speed. Additionally, it guarantees that there is sufficient power to operate the air conditioner and other devices. Idle air control, IAC valves are essential to certain engines. This mechanism controls the engine's idle rotation speed, but it can also get tainted by carbon deposits, which will make it behave strangely. Not every automobile has an IAC. Most people won't have a problem with this option because many modern cars use electronic control measures on the throttle body. Fouled spark plugs. The spark plugs might be the only thing you need to change. When these components get soiled or fouled, firing goes wrong. The engine may misfire or shake as a result of the fuel's improper cylinder ignition. One problem that could have been avoided is this one. The best course of action is to replace the spark plugs as part of your routine maintenance. Depending on the type of plug you use, this should happen every 30,000 to 150,000 miles. How to fix a shaking car at idle. Replace motor mounts. One or two motor mounts are probably damaged if the engine moves a lot while it is idling, but otherwise it runs smoothly. To find out if the engine feels loose, try pushing it in various directions. A broken motor mount needs to be replaced in order to stop the shaking. Typically, replacing motor mounts costs $200 to $700. The difficulty of accessing the mounts affects this price. Motor mounts ought to cost between $50 and $150. The labor will account for the majority of the cost, potentially increasing the total bill by $150 to $550. Replace worn belts or hoses. Replacing a worn belt or hose can cost different amounts of money depending on the damaged part. A serpentine belt replacement, for instance, might cost between $100 and $300. While the labor costs $75 to $225, the belt alone may only cost $25 to $75. On the other hand, it could cost $150 to $1,000 to replace a vacuum hose. The location of the vacuum leak and the difficulty of access determine the cost. Repair fuel intake system. To find out what services are required, examine the fuel intake system. During this examination, it's a good idea to check the fuel pump as well. Depending on the vehicle's requirements, different fuel induction services are available. Sometimes all that is needed is a fuel induction cleaning. At other times, the throttle plate, intake manifold, and intake valves also require maintenance. The cost of a complete fuel induction service could be as much as $150. Some people decide to use fuel injection cleaner to get around this expense, but it doesn't always fix the issues. Fix idle speed control. Both the throttle body and the IAC can be cleaned. It is frequently located near the back of the throttle body on the intake manifold. The only choice if cleaning the IAC is unsuccessful is to replace it. The final cost could range from $100 to $500. Nonetheless, the components typically account for $50 to $300 of the total cost. Clean or change. Spark plugs. The spark plugs are probably damaged if your car is misfiring while it is idle. You can clean the spark plugs if they're dirty. To clean the electrode of debris, use a wire brush and a plug-specific spray-on cleaner. However, replacing contaminated spark plugs might be more cost-effective. Spark plugs for the majority of cars range in price from $5 to $25. The labor involved in changing plugs is the most costly aspect, particularly if they are difficult to reach. Hope the information was helpful to you. If so, please press the like button and subscribe to the channel.